Audio now unmuted. Edwin's note taker left for AI right for has left the meeting. 3 people have joined. All right, let's get started. Carlos's note taker left for AI right for has left the meeting. New unread messages. 2 people have joined. Barbara's note taker, Actuate mental health. Belgu's note taker. So let's get started.
Yes, I'm trying to get started.
AI space. Okay. Speech on demand.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on your time zones. So, my name is Linda Ondicho. So, I would like to take a moment to thank each one of you for joining us today for this exciting session on blockchain technology. So, your presence here shows a keen interest in understanding one of the most transformative technologies of our current time and era. So we truly appreciate your enthusiasm and your time to be here. I would first like by saying that the topic for today's class will be Introduction to Blockchain. And this will be presented by Frida Butale, who will take us through the fundamentals of blockchain, how it works, and why it is revolutionizing various industries. And following Frida's presentation, we will have an interactive sessions where you will be free to ask any questions and share your insights and add to the discussion. As this will be a great opportunity for you to be able to clarify any doubts you may have, and also an opportunity to deepen your understanding. So after our discussion, we will also be having commentaries by our CEO, Dr. Macharia, who is the reason why we are all here today. He will be able to provide us additional insights and perspective on blockchains, as he's also quite an expert in the field as well. So I would like to say before we conclude the class, I will be sharing a feedback form in the chat room, in the message chat box, where you will be able to share your feedback so that we can be able to improve our future sessions according to how you would like it to be, so that we can enhance your learning experience. So thank you very much. I don't know, Dr. Mashara, would you like to say something before we start the meeting, or we just forward it to Frida?
Say just one thing. Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Dr. Masharia. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Actuate Foundation. Now, blockchain is the most powerful technology of the age. It gives us what's called economic freedom or economic justice. And for you, all of you who do not know what is that economic justice, that's the only freedom we don't have in the entire African continent. So pay attention, listen how you become free for the once and for all. So we stop begging the foreigners to give us money for this and that. It is in the blockchain. And of course, blockchain being the technology of the age is just similar to WhatsApp. Well, you know how to use WhatsApp. If you know how to use WhatsApp, then you should know how to use blockchain every day to exercise your freedom. The WhatsApp is a technology for communication, voice and text communication. So you can share information with anyone you want. Now, blockchain itself takes that one step further. It is a technology for communicating your value, the value of the work that you produce every day. Things that you do every day, you get paid for them. Now, in the traditional finance system, there was no way of doing that. Now we have technology where you can communicate your value and other people get to see your value, and then other people pay you for the value of the work you're producing. And that is why we call it economic justice. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to invite Frida to take us through Introduction to Blockchain. This is lesson 1. And then usually these courses are in the blockchain for beginners. We say we are doing pre-beginners course because we have a full beginners course, which is usually 8 weeks, much more in-depth. But this beginners course is going to be very, very good for you already. You know how to enter into the blockchain. Welcome, Frida.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Masharia, and thank you, Linda, for the introduction. So as you've heard, my name is Frida Butale, and I work with Actuate Foundation, and we are in collaboration with ALX. And so we are here to bring you the introduction to blockchain. So you learn the basics of blockchain, about what blockchain is. And so just give me a moment. Let me share my screen so that I can share my presentation. Okay. Yeah, so I'm hoping that everyone can see my screen. And so we are going to begin with the introduction to blockchain. As I said, I work with Actuate Foundation. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that just before we start. Okay. So I'll be taking you through blockchain and decentralized finance. And so about Actuate, we are a virtual incubator innovation lab, and we are focused on leveraging innovative technology and community-based solutions to create lasting impact on global health and human development. As I said, we are currently working with ALX to bring you this blockchain and decentralized finance session. And my goal today is to introduce you to the basics of blockchain. So you learn what is blockchain, a bit about the history and evolution of blockchain, how blockchain works, some key features which include decentralization, transparency, and security, and lastly, some real-world application of blockchain. So welcome again to my session, and feel free to ask any questions in the chat box, and then I will answer them at the end of my presentation. Okay, so let's start with defining what blockchain is. Yeah, so I'll do this by giving an example. So imagine you have a notebook where you write everything down, everything that you buy, sell, or trade. Yeah, so now imagine that that notebook somehow it never gets lost. Yeah, no one can erase past entries, and everyone can see it. So that's just simply how blockchain works. So instead of a notebook, we use a digital record. And instead of one person keeping track, we have many people or many computers that help keep this record safe. So this record is made up of small sections called blocks. And each block is connected to the next one, which forms a chain. And that's where we get blockchain, because there are many blocks that are connected. So as I said, blockchain is like a shared digital notebook, and everyone can add new pages, of which these are transactions. But once a page is full, it is locked forever. And so no one can go back and erase what has already been written. So these blocks store information, and each block has details about transactions. For example, who sent what, how much did they send, and to whom did they send to. And so each block contains a special code, which is like a fingerprint. Yes, so that connects it to the previous block. So if this, for example, let me just say, if the first block was 001, the next block will be 002. Yeah, so you see there's a connection between the previous block because it's sequential. And so this is shared with many computers. And in blockchain, no single person controls that notebook. And so every computer in the network has a copy of these transactions. So if someone tries to cheat, the other computers will notice and make a stop to it, which makes it very safe. So if someone tries to change an old block, the entire chain will break. Yeah, so the network makes sure that every block is correct before adding it. So yeah, so that's basically what blockchain is about. And the fact that you cannot change what has already been recorded is what makes it immutable, and also brings about trust. So next we're going to look at the journey and how blockchain started. And so at first there was a problem before blockchain. Yeah, so before blockchain, we had digital transactions which relied on central authorities, for example, banks or payment processors like PayPal or like Visa. And the main problem was there's this problem of double spending. So if digital money is just a file, there's nothing that stopped someone from copying it and spending it twice. Yeah, so trust in third parties, and people had to trust banks or companies to keep records accurate. But this, the institutions could fail, or even you can be charged like high fees, or even be hacked. And also, they also lacked transparency, so people could not always see what happened behind the scenes with their transactions. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of times you've even stored money in a bank, and then somehow you find that. The next time you go to withdraw, there's a little bit less money than you had initially. So yeah, that brings about a problem when it comes before blockchain. So blockchain aims to eliminate all these problems. And so yeah, just a minute. I think it stopped sharing. So let me check where the issue is. Okay, so blockchain came about in 2008. Yeah, but before then, there was just some groundwork that was happening. Yeah, before Satoshi Nakamoto developed blockchain, we had some other people who laid the foundation for blockchain to be built. So just a moment. Yeah, so I hope you all can see my screen again. And so in 1991 to 2008 led to the early ideas which developed blockchain. Yeah, so there were several researchers before Satoshi who came along. So in 1991, we had the first blockchain-like idea where two cryptographers, one was named Stuart and another named Scott, they created a system for time stamping digital documents to prevent tampering. And this was the first step toward blockchain technology. And then in 1998, we had BitGold. Yeah, so a computer scientist named Nick created a concept called BitGold, which works like Bitcoin, but it was never fully implemented. So, and then in 2004, we had reusable proof of work, which Hal Finley, who is a well-known cryptographer, he created a system where users could prove that they owned digital money without trusting a third party, which was another big step towards blockchain. And then came along 2008, where we had Satoshi Nakamoto and the birth of Bitcoin in October 2008. So Satoshi is a mysterious person, so we don't really know who that person was. And he or she published a document called the Bitcoin White Paper. And this paper introduced Bitcoin, a new type of digital money, and it explained it how it will be used to solve the double spending problem. So Satoshi's goal was to create a system where people could send money directly to each other without banks. And then in 2009, the first blockchain goes live. And in January 2009, the first ever block was created on the Bitcoin blockchain, which was called the Genesis block. Yeah, and so there was a message included in the block which said, the Times, 3rd January 2009, Chancellor on the brink of the second bailout for banks. And this message referenced a newspaper headline about banks failing, showing why Bitcoin was created to give, which was to give people a financial system without depending on the banks. So in 2010 till now, blockchain has expanded beyond Bitcoin. And in 2010, we had the first Bitcoin purchase where someone actually bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 BTC. Yeah, so by then Bitcoin had, they didn't know the value of Bitcoin. So right now, I think 10,000 BTCs is a lot of money, millions actually, which then it marked the first real world use of Bitcoin. And then in 2013, we had Ethereum and smart contracts. So a programmer named Vitalik Buterin saw that blockchain could do more than just money. He created Ethereum, which is a new blockchain that allowed smart contracts, which are self-executing agreements. And these smart contracts work without middlemen. And then from 2017, we had the growth of DeFi and NFTs. So blockchain technology is now used for decentralized finance. It can be used in supply chains, in voting systems, in healthcare, and also even in digital art, which are NFTs. Yeah, so that's how blockchain came to be. And so next we're going to look at why blockchain is special. And number one, blockchain is not just a regular way of keeping records. It's a different and better. It's different and better in many ways. So unlike normal databases or even bank systems, blockchain is decentralized. Yeah, which means that no one person can control the blockchain. So normally for banks or companies, they control their own databases. But in blockchain, everyone in the network has a copy of the information. So this means that no one person or company can control or even cheat the system. Next is that blockchain is transparent. Yeah, this means that everyone can see the truth. So every transaction is recorded on a public ledger. So once something is written, everyone can see it. This makes it hard for people to lie or even cheat. And then next, I can say that blockchain is secure, which is makes it hard to hack. So blockchain uses cryptography, which is a special type of secret coding to keep data safe. And once a block is added, it cannot be changed or deleted. So if someone tries to change old records, everyone in the network will reject it. And then blockchain is trustless. Trustless means that there's no need for trust to trust anyone. So normally we trust institutions like banks, governments, or even companies to keep our records safe. But with blockchain, trust is replaced by math and technology. So no one can secretly change what is recorded there. And then blockchain is also fast and global. This means that it works everywhere and anytime. As you know, if I've ever tried making a transaction, maybe with someone outside the country, you can see that sometimes the payments take days to process. Yeah, so banks can take days to process international payments, but with blockchain transactions can happen in like minutes or even seconds. Yeah, no matter where you are. So if let's say I'm in Kenya and I want to send some money to someone in China, it will only take me a few minutes to be able to do that. Yeah, so I hope we're all together up to there. And so next, we're going to look at how blockchain works. As I said, blockchain is like a digital notebook, which many people share. So every time someone writes something on it, everyone else gets a copy. And once something is written, it cannot be changed. So it works in 4 simple steps. Number 1 is that a transaction happens. Yeah, so someone sends information, like let's say someone sends money or some data or even a contract to someone else. Yeah, for example, if I send, let's say 1 Bitcoin to someone, let's say named who, for example, to Becca, I send 1 Bitcoin to Becca. So the transaction is checked. So many computers, this which are called nodes, check if the transaction is valid. Yeah, they confirm, do I really have that 1 Bitcoin I say that I want to send? And then number 2, is she allowed to receive that, or am I allowed to send it? Yeah. And so step number 3 is that the transaction is added to a block. And once it is approved, the transaction is put together in that block. Yeah, so I said block is like a group of transactions. So in blockchain, you'll find that there are many transactions happening, let's say every minute. So these transactions are bunched up and they're put in a block. So each block has a list of transactions. It also has a special code, which is called a hash. Yeah, as I said in blockchain, so one block is linked to another block. And for these linkages to happen, for example, if one block is, say the hash is 001, the next block has to be 002. Yeah, so that's what basically a hash is, which links one block to the previous block. And then it also has a timestamp showing when it was created. Yeah, and so then after all that, all the transactions are put in a block. The block is linked to the chain. Yeah, and so the block is added to the chain, and the record is made permanent and it cannot be changed. So yeah, that's basically even where we get the name blockchain. So it is important, as I said, because no one can change the past. Once a block is added, it stays there forever. And then everyone can see the history, which makes it transparent. Yeah, so everyone anywhere in the world, you can be able to access that data and it cannot be changed. So there's no need for a middleman. Yeah, so you can send money or even make deals with banks or companies, with banks without any bank or maybe even a company controlling what you're doing. Yeah, which makes it even fast and cheaper. So next, we're going to look at types of blockchains. Yeah, we have several types of blockchains because not all blockchains work the same way. And there are 4 main types of blockchains. And number 1, we shall start with the public blockchain. So public blockchain is open to everyone. This means that anyone can join, anyone can read, and they can add transactions. So public blockchain also, they are run by many computers all around the world, which makes them decentralized. And public blockchain is also secure because no single person controls it. And we have examples such as Bitcoin. So anyone can send and receive Bitcoin. Yeah, and also we've talked about a bit about Ethereum. It's another type of public blockchain. And Ethereum, anyone can create and use smart contracts. So it's like public blockchain. It's like, let's say, give an example of like Wikipedia. So anyone can read and help update it, but it also has strict rules that prevent someone from lying. Yeah. And so next we're going to look at private blockchain. Yeah, so for private blockchain, it's controlled by one group. So only certain people can use private blockchain. Usually it is used by businesses or even governments. It is faster and more controlled than public blockchains. So some examples include Hyperledger Fabric, which is used by private companies for transactions. Yeah, and also we have something called the Earth Recorder, which is used by banks to track payments securely. Yeah, so a private blockchain, it's like a private company database that only employees can access it. So no outsiders will be able to view that information. Yeah, and so next we're going to look at the consortium blockchain. Yeah, so a consortium is shared by a few organizations. Yeah, so a few trusted organizations can share control of that blockchain. So it's more secure than public blockchain, but still decentralized. It is used when different groups need to work together, but don't fully trust each other. Yeah, so we have some examples. For example, the IBM Food Trust, which is used by food companies like Nestle to track food safety. And then we have another example is the energy web chain, which is used by energy companies to manage clean energy. Yeah, so a consortium is like, let's say, a group project, yeah, and only a few organizations or a few students, let's say if it's a school setting, can edit the work, but everyone in the group, they must agree. And then lastly, we have the hybrid blockchain, which is a mix of public and private. Yeah, so some parts are open and some parts are private. And so it can allow public verification while keeping sensitive data private. And it is used when businesses want to make to have both transparency and privacy. Yeah, so we have some examples like Ripple, which banks use it for payments, but it's not fully public. Yeah, so it maintains some level of privacy. Yeah, so yeah, it's like, for example, let's say even a hospital where patients can see their own records, but only doctors and staff can access everything. So why do different blockchains exist? So different types of blockchains exist because different people need different levels of control, privacy, and security. Yeah, so for public blockchains, they are open, transparent. For example, as I've said, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then for private blockchains, these are perfect for businesses, and because they are secure and they maintain some level of privacy. And so companies and banks can use private blockchains. And so for consortium blockchains, yeah, they're for industries working together. For example, as I've said, in food, safety, and energy. And then we have hybrid blockchains. So if you want to blend a mix of, let's say, transparency and also privacy, you can use, excuse me. Yeah, you can use hybrid blockchain. Yeah, so hybrid blockchains can be used in somewhere like finance or even healthcare. Okay, so we are going to look at blockchain versus regular databases. Yeah, so a regular database and blockchain, they both store information, but they work in very different ways. Yeah, so as you can see here on my table, we're going to compare them side by side. And number one, we can look at who controls regular database versus blockchain database versus blockchain, sorry. So in a regular database, it is controlled by one person or a company, yeah, which we're calling centralized, which makes it centralized. And so in blockchain, it's controlled by many people or even computers, which makes it decentralized. So a bank's for example, a bank's database is controlled by the bank. Yeah, for example, yeah, a bank like KCB has their own database which contains their customers' information, their transactions, all that. Yeah, and only KCB controls that information. But when it comes to blockchain, yeah, for example, the Bitcoin blockchain, it's controlled by thousands of computers, and these computers are just not in one place. Yeah, they're scattered everywhere worldwide. And so we are going to look at next how is information stored. So in a regular database, information is stored in like tables, for example, Excel sheets and the like. But when it comes to blockchain, data is stored in blocks, yeah, as we've seen, and each block is linked to the next to the previous one. For example, a hospital has patient records, and these records are maybe stored in a table. But when it comes to blockchain, each patient visit will be recorded in a chain of connected records. So we're going to look at next how data is, can it be changed when it comes to regular database? So yes, when it comes to a regular database, information can be edited or even deleted by the owner. But when it comes to blockchain, once data is stored, it cannot be changed or erased. Yeah, so you'll find that even the very first transaction that happened in blockchain till now, you'll be able to see how many, let's say even Bitcoins were sent, when it was sent. All that data is there and you can be able to access it. Yeah, so next, we're going to look at security. So for regular databases, if a hacker was to break in, they can be able to change or delete information. But when it comes to blockchain, we use cryptography and decentralization, which makes it very hard to hack. Yeah, so how blockchain works in real life, and we're going to look at why blockchain is better in some cases. Number one, we're going to see that you will have more trust in blockchain because no one can secretly change information. And so, and also it is more secure, so it is harder to hack than regular databases. And so also in blockchain, there are no middlemen. The transactions happen directly between people. Okay, so that's it, the comparison between blockchain and regular databases. So next, we're going to look at where blockchain is used. So blockchain is not just for Bitcoin. I'm sure everyone here has maybe heard a little bit about Bitcoin. Yeah, so blockchain is more than just Bitcoin. And so we have many industries that are using blockchain to make things faster, safer, and more transparent. Yeah. So some cases where blockchain is used, number one, the one mostly most people know is money payments and even transfers. So people can send and receive money without a bank. And why is this important? Because there's no middleman. So it makes transactions much faster and much cheaper. Yeah. So for example, we have Bitcoin and Ethereum and digital payment systems with stable coins like USDT. Yeah, so I've introduced a new term, which is stablecoin. A stablecoin is a digital currency, yeah, which is pegged to, uh, let's say, fiat money. Yeah, for example, if we had a digital currency by the name KES, which is the Kenya shilling, we'll have it will be equal to the Kenya shilling on the ground. For example, if right now the Kenya shilling is 129 to a dollar, yeah, the digital money will also be the same, will have the same value. So that's what stable coins mean. Yeah, so you can think of it like sending money with M-Pesa, but without Safaricom controlling it. Yeah, so that's where one area where blockchain can be used. And also blockchain can be used in healthcare. Yeah, as we've learned, to secure patient records, it can track medicine and also can reward healthy behaviors, yeah, incentivization. And so why is this important? Because it prevents fraud, it protects data, and it makes healthcare more efficient. And so, yeah, so you can think of blockchain in the medical field like a medical file that no one can fake and doctors everywhere can trust. Yeah, I'm sure we've all experienced a problem where you've received treatment in one hospital, but you cannot be able, when you go to another hospital, they don't have your records. Yeah, so this creates a big problem. And so, yeah, different doctors give different diagnoses, yeah, because they don't have the full information. Well, blockchain has the power to change all that, such that, let's say, doctors can be able to access information, patient information from anywhere. And so next, it can be used in supply chains. Yeah, so it can be used to track where products come from and where they go. And why the reason why this is important is because it stops fake products, it ensures fair trade, and it also improves food safety. Yeah, so we've said a company like Nestle or even a supermarket can use blockchain to track food, the way it's coming from the farm and how it's coming to the stores. Yeah, so you can think of it like a tracking sticker on a package, but no one can change and no one can remove. And so blockchain can also be used in voting and also in elections. Yeah, it can be used to secure for security and ensuring transparency. So this ensures that there's no cheating, there's no fake votes, and the results can't be changed. Yeah, and so another use of blockchain is smart contracts. So smart contracts are usually programs that run automatically when conditions are met. Yeah, and why is this important? Because there are no middlemen and there's no cheating. Yeah, so let's say, for example, there's a farmer. He has already grown his crops and all that, and so right now he wants to get paid. When using smart contracts, the farmer will get paid automatically when he ships his produce or when his produce arrives at a certain point. So let's say I'm a farmer and I'm selling oranges to, let's say, a supermarket like Naivas. Yeah, once this the blockchain can be able to track the movement of my oranges from a farm to neighbors, and once neighbors receives these oranges, automatically money is sent to me. Yeah, so that makes it secure and fast. And so blockchain can also be used for digital identity. So people can control their online identity and data, and this prevents identity theft, and it also gives people ownership of their information. And so also blockchain can be used in publishing and research. Yeah, so it can be used to track research, and this prevents plagiarism, and also it rewards authors. Yeah, it can be used to incentivize people who write or even post educational content. Yeah, so this ensures fairness and proper credit for creators. Yeah, so you can be able to verify who wrote an article first. Yeah. So, and then blockchain can be used in gaming and NFTs. Yeah, so players who truly own their in-game items can be able to sell them. Yeah, so we have some games that I'm sure you've all played. Let me give an example with a game like, I don't know, have we all played something like, say, Subway Surfer? Yeah, a game like that. Once you see all these coins that you collect, there are games in blockchain. Once you collect all these coins, you can be able to redeem them. Yeah, so for like real world money, I'm sure we've all wished you could have that money that you collect in certain games in real life. So there are certain games in blockchain that offer that option that you can be able to redeem some in-game items for money. So next, let's take a look at smart contracts. Yeah, so I hope I'm not going too fast, but if you need any clarification, you can go ahead and type in the chat. So next, let's look at smart contracts. Yeah, so smart contracts, let's say it's like a lawyer, but a robot lawyer that follows rules and makes things happen. And this happens automatically. So it is a program stored on a blockchain that runs when certain conditions are met. Yeah, so think of it like like a vending machine. Yeah, you put in money. That's a condition met. Yeah, so a vending machine requires you to input a certain amount of money. So let's say if soda is charging, a vending machine is charging 40 bob for a soda, it requires you to put 40 bob in that machine. Yeah, so the machine checks if the right amount has been input, and if it's correct, it gives you a soda. And if it is wrong, the conditions have not been met, so nothing happens. So smart contract does the same thing, but with money or even property or even digital agreements. Yeah. So we're going to look at how smart contracts work. And the first step is that the contract is written in computer code and placed on the blockchain. And then step two, it waits for a specific condition to be met. For example, a payment to be received. The same example I gave, for example, I'm sending oranges to neighbors. Yeah, if these oranges arrive, a smart contract will automatically execute it will take and say that, yeah, Frida has sent 10 oranges to neighbors. So that's a condition met. And then step three, once these conditions are met, it runs automatically. For example, it will release my payment automatically. So if I was to receive, for example, 1,000 bob for sending 10 oranges, yeah, and the 10 oranges arrive at neighbors, it will automatically send money to me. Yeah, so, and then the last step is that everything is recorded on the blockchain, and so it can't be changed. So it will record that I sent these oranges, my name is Frida. I sent 10 oranges to neighbors, and neighbors sent back 1,000 for these 10 oranges. So that's basically how a smart contracts work. And so why smart contracts are important are because, one, there are no middlemen, so there's no need for a bank, a lawyer, or a company to process agreements. Smart contracts are automatic and fast, so everything happens instantly without waiting for like very many approvals. Yeah. So, and then smart contracts are trustworthy, and so no one can cheat or change the contract once it starts. And then it's transparent, so everyone can see the contract rules. So before entering into a contract, yeah, the smart contracts lays down all the rules that you need to do. If I'm supposed to be these oranges are supposed to look like this, how many I'm supposed to send, it lays down the rules such that you know what is expected of you. Yeah. And so some real world use cases of smart contracts, they can be used in healthcare, and also they can be used in insurance for automatic payments. Yeah. And so it can also be used in finance for borrowing and lending money. And also it can be used in businesses for paying employees. Yeah, so if an employee does, let's say you task an employee with what, let's say writing some documents. Once they are done writing these documents, the smart contract automatically, and they submit them, the smart contract automatically pays them. And then smart contracts can also be used in voting, so to ensure fair elections without any fraud. Yeah, so yeah, you can think of it like a promise that enforces itself. So no one can break the rules when it comes to smart contracts. Okay, so uh, so we're going to look at what's next for blockchain. So we know blockchain is still growing and it's still improving. Yeah, in the beginning I said it started with Bitcoin, but now it's being used for money, for healthcare, for sending money for healthcare, for businesses, for voting. Yeah, so there's a lot more use cases when it comes to blockchain. And it's only becoming faster and cheaper and easier to use. Yeah, so we're going to get like faster transaction. I'm sure if you go, as we go along, we're going to look at, yeah, as you said, the different types of blockchains. I'm sure if someone has used Bitcoin, the Bitcoin blockchain, they might deem it a bit slower than the Ethereum blockchain. Yeah. the layer ones, and even there are usually other blockchains that are more faster than even the Bitcoin or the Ethereum blockchain. Yeah, so it's only getting faster, and also the transactions are cheaper. So we'll find that if you're paying, for example, $10 for a transaction, right now it's less than even $1. Yeah, and it's only getting cheaper. And so this will help businesses and people use blockchain for everyday payments. Yeah, so, and also more smart contracts and automation is happening. Yeah, so smart contracts can be used, as I said, will be used in hospitals, more hospitals, and we have more people building smart contracts that can also be used in insurance or even in farming. Yeah, and for example, even we have people building smart contracts where you can buy land or even get get health insurance without needing all the paperwork. So everything becomes automatic. Yeah. So, and also we have people building blockchains for identity and security, and also other governments and companies are adopting blockchain. Yeah, and so and also we have more people learning and using blockchains. So we've interacted with a few people from Zambia, and they say that Zambia, their schools are teaching blockchain, yeah, which is a good thing. Compared to Kenya right now, I'm sure our institutions do not really teach blockchain. I've not seen any curriculum that has accepted blockchain, which is really wanting, because yeah, we are falling very much behind. So more people are learning and using blockchains in schools and universities. Yeah, and there are very many careers when it comes to blockchain. And so, yeah, the future is blockchain, and blockchain is here to stay. So, in summary, so blockchain is a new way to store and share information. It is safe, it is fair, and it is open to everyone, and more people are using it every day. So I'll take any questions right now, as I see, yeah, it's almost time. Okay. So, all right. So I see a few questions here from, I can see a question from Annette. And so, yeah. So blockchain is public and anyone can view it anytime. So actually, you don't need to have a wallet to be able to view blockchain transactions. Yeah, so we have, as we go along with the course, we have something called different blockchain companies. For example, Ethereum, they have something called explorers. So you don't need a wallet to be able to view transactions on the blockchain. And so, so I can see there's also another question about for the smart contracts, how is the verification of tasks completed done? Yeah, so these contracts are written on code. Yeah, so in this code, it specified certain transactions here. So as I've said, the one, for example, something I use in oranges in smart contracts. I'll give an example. For example, let's say we have an agreement with Naivas. Yes, once I sent these 10 oranges and they arrive at Naivas, I'll be able to get my 1,000 shillings. So a smart contract, all this is done in code, and there's something called even an escrow, which yeah, it's a new term. So an escrow is basically a place where funds are stored, or even you can be able to see that I really have these 10 oranges and Neighbors has this 1,000 shillings, such that if they verify that I've sent these 10 oranges to them, my 1,000 shillings is automatically sent to me. Yeah. So for stable coins, I see Romana. So for stable coins, what is the importance if they have the same value as normal cash? So for normal cash, I can say for normal cash, for example, if you have fiat or if you have money with M-Pesa, yeah, so M-Pesa will charge you quite a lot if I want to say send money to someone in China. Yeah, so it will take a lot of the transaction cost will be very high. And I've said like it's also controlled by a central authority. So with stable coin, first of all, yes, it keeps its value, so it will not fluctuate. So you'll get the same value of the Kenyan shilling is fiat being sent to someone, as I've said, in another country for much cheaper. Yeah, for sending money using stable coins, it's much cheaper because you can find that you'll send money with like even less than 100 shillings. Yeah, so it's that's where stable coins come in. And also, how comes most of the times when doing transactions, for example, Bitcoin withdrawal, if a mistake is done using a different network, your cash can't be retrieved? Yeah, that's actually very, very true. You have to be careful once you're using blockchain. Yeah, so for sending money, if you send money to a wrong wallet address or even a wrong person somewhere, or even you try to, if you're unsure with a transaction, you have to verify every transaction because it is very easy to lose your cash when it comes to sending money. So you have to verify where you're sending your cash to, otherwise you will never recover it. Yeah, so we say with great power comes great responsibility. So blockchain gives you all this power for your cash, for needing your cash. You have a lot of power over your cash, but you also have to take care such that you don't lose your cash. So for every transaction you make, you have to verify very many times before you make that transaction. Can you please, Annette, can you clarify where does the money go? If you're referring to where the money goes if a wrong transaction is made, it goes to, let's say, it just disappears. Yeah, no one can be able to recover that money once you have lost it. Yeah, so I don't know. Let me give this chance to Dr. Masharia. Do you have any additional comments?
All right, thank you so much. Oh yeah, where does the money go? If you send the money to the wrong wallet, that money disappears in a sinkhole. You'll never see it again. And so what this means is that blockchain, well, that's not a common thing to do. Is that when you're sending money, even like when you're sending emails, you want to make sure you have the correct email address. If you're sending a very sensitive email, before you hit send, make sure that you have the correct address. The same thing now money is much more sensitive than email. Make sure that you have the correct wallet address before you hit send. That's it. If you don't do that, you may never see that money again, unless the person you send to can send it back to you. But now, if you are on, let's say, the Bitcoin blockchain, and you send money to the Ethereum blockchain, like somebody with a wallet on Ethereum blockchain, Ethereum blockchain does not recognize Bitcoin. See? And so the money disappears. But maybe that problem could be going away soon, maybe within this year or so. What we are talking to people creating AI agents, that means artificial intelligence agents that can actually route the money to the correct address. Yeah, because they make the blockchains interoperable. It means that if somebody has got a Bitcoin blockchain, you have a Bitcoin blockchain, and you wanted to send money from a Bitcoin blockchain, and you send it by inadvertently to Ethereum blockchain, then probably with the AI agents, which are now operating on what they're calling layer 0, that money may be tracked. But before today, like in say 2020, 2022, the sites before, you could not do that because these chains, there's the different chain, the Ethereum chain, the Bitcoin chain, the Solana chain, they have all developed like sheer verticals, they're siloed, but people are working very hard to solve that problem. But one thing I want to tell you, all of you who are here today, is that blockchain is here, it's not going back. And it is simple. Blockchains, they are like the third iteration of the internet. The internet came from the read web in early 1990s, where you could read what was on the web. Then we got the right web, like we got Facebook and even WhatsApp, and where you could write the things that are coming to your mind in what they call post and newsfeed. And then we have the blockchain, which is now the own web, which is the internet of value. So it is the same way you use WhatsApp. So blockchain is not mysterious. It's just a new level of internet, but coming with new jargon or language that sounds complex. But that's why we are talking about educating everyone. The most important, why this education about blockchain is important for everybody. Like Frida said, in Zambia, they are teaching blockchain in high school students. Why? Because blockchain brings something unique to itself, which was not possible even before. This thing that's unique about blockchain, it gives us something called economic justice. Economic justice means the value of the work that you do every day gets actually encoded in the marketplace. That value in Africa, or what's called the third world, that value of the work that you do every day does not show up anywhere in anybody's balance sheet. When that value does not show up in the balance sheet, then it looks like you are not working. So no matter how hard you work in Africa today, in the old system, the old centralized system, all that work that you do, it does not show up anywhere. It's not even tradable. You cannot sell, people cannot actually buy things about what you're doing. And so, but the blockchain knocks out all that by decentralizing value, decentralize the finance system such that you can actually represent your value through your own cell phone. So that is what if you learn blockchain just for that reason, that's everything. Then you want to understand that when the value is not represented in the marketplace, value is what's called capital. Capital is what makes the gross domestic product of a nation. So, sorry, so capital is the gross domestic product of a nation. And when value is not represented, I'm getting alarms going on. When value is not represented, then you have capital that does not show up in the marketplace. When capital doesn't show up in the marketplace, that's what's called poverty. So countries are said to be poor because it seems that people, as if people are not working, they're just lazy, laying around, doing nothing. Where we know that in Africa, people work very, very hard every day. But that the value of their work does not show up anywhere in anybody's market. And we were told by Hernando de Soto way back in 2000 that capital that is not showing up in the market is called dead capital. Dead capital in Africa, in African countries like Kenya, represent about 700 times the gross domestic product of the nation. There is so much money in Kenya, but we don't see it. Why? And then when you can't see the money, because it's not visible, then our president, Mr. Ruto, and others, they go out to the World Bank to borrow money, to IMF, they go to China, they go to Europe, borrowing money because you're made to believe that we are poor. So this poverty is a make-believe thing, but then that goes away on the blocks. That's what everybody in Africa today must learn blockchain to get that financial freedom to achieve economic justice. Now, when economic justice is possible, something else will happen. Economic justice means that the value of the work you're doing every day, including what you're learning at the African Leadership Academy, that value shows up in the marketplace. Then we achieve something else, which is called distributive justice. Distributive justice is how now you can distribute the products of your knowledge to everybody in the community such that we can innovate. Innovation does not happen in Africa because, first of all, there is no economic justice, and then there's no way to distribute our knowledge, even to the villages, to combine the knowledge that you're receiving in the university with material products that are coming out in African villages. So it looks like we cannot add value to our products. You cannot add value to fruits, vegetables. You cannot even transport those oranges to neighbors. Now that is what's called distributive justice. And blockchain is now capable of doing that for all of us. And then when you can achieve distributive justice, we now achieve what's called social justice, the highest form of justice. Social justice means the value of yourself, your own work. You get paid because you have seen the payment system today has got middlemen who like sitting there in the middle, taking all the money. What you should be paid, in fact, they eat maybe 70 to 80% of that money and they give you maybe nothing. Now, when you don't get paid, for example, a lot of people living in the villages, they cannot get paid. They cannot even realize the value. They have no money to achieve social services like healthcare, like education. So all the struggles that you see in Kenya, even with the the health system, what are they calling it now? SHIF, that's social health insurance. It would go away when the blockchain comes to life 100%. But we cannot get there unless every single one of us, every single one of you gets to comprehend those things. The value of the work of the blockchain is very, very important technology that is going to take us away. Now we don't have to worry about Linda Mama because the blockchain is able to execute, even using smart contracts, put money aside for our healthcare system, even for education, grants, things like that. Okay, that's what I wanted to add about that. So it's an introduction class. I think this is heavy, but you want to know that the blockchain is here and it has taken us now. See, as Frida said, since 1990s, people have been working on this. 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto published the very first blockchain, the Bitcoin, which money became a speculative thing. But then after that, there has been so much work done over the last 14 years, between, let's say 15 years now. But then in Kenya, we are still not even talking about it. Now that has to stop. And that's why we have created this movement, Actuate Foundation. We make sure that we talk about it loudly so that we know economic freedom is not a political question. We cannot solve these economic issues, we cannot solve these economic issues, even whatever, through politics. It is a technology question. And this kind of technology, you learn it in school. That's why we are excited to work with you guys at ALX. I would like you to join our Actuate Nation on WhatsApp. And also where we have, after this is going to be a 4-week program. But then after this 4 weeks, we want to go into more advanced courses, which is 8-week beginners course, which will give you serious, let's say very serious knowledge about the blockchain so that you become an authority by yourself. And maybe you may be able to also rate your own smart contracts. But then in that, particularly in the intermediate course, in the Actuate Academy intermediate course, you can now with intermediate course, we shall be teaching you how to make smart contracts such that you are in charge. And now then you have advanced course where if you're interested now to go into computer science, which is much more advanced, where you can learn about tokenization of real world assets. Well, that's what I would like to add about that. The power is in your hands. We have always talked about economic freedom in Africa. It is here. And it is very important. Besides African Leadership Academy, we are preaching this gospel to all institutions in Kenya. Earlier today, we had a meeting presentation with Technical University of Mombasa, so that you're not alone. These are master students and PhD students. But blockchain has to be taught from PhD students going through master students, through undergraduate students, going then, or even primary elementary school students, all the way to people in the village who have never been schooled. And the reason we have to teach them, because blockchain is just like M-Pesa. If somebody in the village can use an M-Pesa wallet to send money, somebody in the village can use the cell phone. The village can use the cell phone to execute, transaction on blockchain. So that if there's a cell phone every single household in the nation, then it means that every single household has got the ability to join the blockchain, to get on the blockchain. We get to the Web3. Because say, like, if you're speaking to someone on WhatsApp in the household, it means that that person can also participate and partake of these new graces that come with the block decentralized finance. One final thing I want to tell you about that power that you have on the blockchain is that the blockchain wallet itself gives you access to the finance market, the global finance market. These are called in the decentralized exchanges, that no matter where you are, you can now participate in making market. Making market means that you can contribute tokens you're holding, such as Actuate token. You combine them with another token to create what's called a liquidity pool. Frida mentioned about liquidity pools, and these liquidity pools is what provides financing for a nation. Imagine if you have 50 million Kenyans, 50 million is everybody, let's say about 14 million adults in Kenya, participating in contributing liquidity, creating liquidity pool. Would our president go to China to borrow money? Did you know that's all it shall take? That you have everybody contributing 100 shillings into a liquidity pool. And one amazing thing, and you learn this in a liquidity pool next week when you're talking about exchanges and liquidity pools, is that when you contribute money to liquidity pool, that money is still yours. You can remove it anytime. But when you're contributing it to form liquidity for the money, it allows others to borrow from it. It allows actual transaction to happen smoothly. And then you also earn interest. You operate in that position as an investment banker. So this power that has been there by the investment bankers, it comes into your own hands, that you're operating as an investment banker. So that means that creating a liquidity pool involves taking a token like Actuate token and tying it together with another token like BNB token on Binance chain, or if ETH token on Ethereum chain. Yeah, and that forms liquidity. Well, you can see these are very, very exciting things to do, even to know, because it's what's called absolute freedom. You see, I look at people like Julius Malema of South Africa saying economic freedom fighters. Julius is a lawyer himself, but he thinks that economic freedom is a political issue, fighting for economic freedom. No, you can talk about all you want, in politics, but economic freedom is a technology question. The technology for economic freedom is the blockchain. So, and that's if we can teach every one of us, from the young to the old, that the blockchain is a technology for economic freedom, you will see that whole thing about politics going away. All right. Thank you so much, Rita. Let me stop there because I know we're right on time and I've got my alarm going on a continuous basis. Okay. Back to you, Baker, Linda.
Thank you very much, Doc and Frida, for your wonderful insights and presentation. I'm seeing there are still a couple of questions in the chat, and I'm wondering if Frida can answer some of the questions.
We can answer them. Yes, absolutely.
Now, Frida?
Okay. So I say that okay, Miriam. So transaction, although Victor answered, so the crypto transactions don't have a record. The transactions we have a record. Every transaction that is made on the blockchain, it is recorded. Yeah, so just because it's recorded doesn't mean that it can be retrieved. So you have to make sure that whatever transaction you're making, you are sure about it. And also, we also have several steps when it comes to before a transaction is finalized. Yeah, so there's something called signing. Yeah, so next week we shall look at wallets and exchanges, and we shall look at how this transaction happened and how it all works, and how it is the transactions are recorded. So I see someone is asking if there will be subsequent classes after today's. So yes, after today we have every Wednesday for the next, today is the first week. We're doing this for 4 weeks. So every Wednesday at 8 p.m., we shall be meeting here for the classes. And so,
Yeah, and I think it's good they join the Actuate Nation so that they can be getting updates and even ask questions there. That's on WhatsApp.
okay.
Yeah. So better you can send them the link to WhatsApp where people can join so that we can have continuous conversation between now and the next Wednesday.
Okay, so I think I'll go to the next question. I see Annette asking for transactions using crypto. How is it paid? Do they subtract the fee from the wallet balance? So if you're making a transaction using crypto, or any crypto, you shall, if you agree with someone that once you send me, if I want to buy, let me use the same example. If I want to use to buy oranges from someone, yeah, it works similarly. Let's say even like M-Pesa. Yeah, if I want to buy, let's say, oranges from the grocery shop, I will go there and will agree the price of oranges is of one orange is 10 shillings. Yes. So from my wallet, there's something we call a wallet. So this wallet stores your it stores your tokens or your crypto. Yeah, so once you agree that the price of oranges is this, I go to my wallet, and the other person also has to have a wallet. So I send, for example, that 10 shillings from my wallet to the other person's, the grocery, the mama mbogas or grocery owners' wallet. Yeah, so, and also uh, the value of crypto, it also comes from, let's say, the more people interact with a certain token or a certain crypto, that's where the value. So, like right now, you'll find the value of something, say, like Bitcoin. It's about almost 1 million Kenya shillings, I think so. Yeah. So the more people interact with crypto, that's where it gets its value from. So you will not be able to buy one orange. If you want one orange costs 10 shillings. Yeah, so you'll not be able to like use let's say 10 bitcoins to buy that one orange, because the value of crypto is way more. Yeah, but the value of a particular crypto, you can be able to get the value. There are various companies which have developed uh, different, let's say, should I say explorers, something like, you can go and look at something called CoinGecko. They check the market value of different crypto tokens, and from there you can be able to gauge the value. So there are tokens which are $10, you get $10 or $1. Yeah. So each crypto has its own value, and from that, yeah, you can be able to know the different, how much a crypto is worth. So
I think she was
yeah.
asked the transaction fee. Transaction fee comes from the money in your wallet. A very small fraction is like you won't even notice.
Oh, the gas fees. So
Gas.
yeah, so for the gas fees, they're called transaction fees. Yeah, for the transaction fees, as I said, these transactions have to be verified. So the transaction fees goes to the verification, and it's very low. You'll barely notice it. Yeah, as I said, for the systems or different blockchains that have been developed recently, there are the costs are way less. Yeah, so initially you could even you can send, even let's say even 1 million Kenya shillings to a certain wallet, and you get like a transaction fee of even less than, let's say even less than what, $10. Yeah, so you can make huge amounts of transactions with the lowest amount of transaction fees. Yes, so I don't know if I've not answered a question.
Well, transaction fee in blockchain transactions, the gas fees it's constant. Like whether you're sending 1 million or 1 billion, 100,000, or even 10 shillings, the transaction fee is the same, but the transaction fee is very, very small. It's unnoticeable. Yeah, that's why the blockchain is very powerful. Now, when you send money by PayPal, for example, if I send money PayPal or I send money with who? With the bank, it's called the wire transfer. It takes a whole lot of money. Yeah, the wire transfer, they take something like 5 to 10% of the money I'm sending. So if you're sending, say, a lot of money, like 100,000, then means that they're going to take 10% of that. Why do they take that money? Why? It's not that they are carrying it on sacks and putting it on their shoulders. They're going to get more tired. It's not that they are going to hire some big transportation. They just like to take money because you say it's a lot of money. Now, on the blockchain, whether you are sending 1 billion or you are sending 100,000, the transaction fee is tiny, totally unnoticeable. Yeah, it's going to be the same money that you would use for selling 10 shillings is exactly the same that you would use for selling 100 million shillings on the blockchain. See that? So that's called transaction fees. That's why the blockchain is so it enables participation. Now, in a traditional finance system, again, 1 million shillings, you cannot send that 1 million shillings. You get flagged. If you go to the bank and say, I want to send 1 million shillings to my buddies in Zambia for a certain project, or even say, right now I'm in Boston. You will say, I want to send 1 million shillings to Kenya. The bank is going to say, who are these people? Do you know them? Why are you sending money? Then puts a red flag, and they are going to hold that transaction. They can even hold it for even up to 6 months, 180 days. And they're saying, we're not sure about this one. So this traditional finance system is full of what? Nonsensical people who they like to believe that they are the policemen of the world. Nonsense. So it means that, first of all, if you are sending for a project, for example, if you're building up something in the country, you're in the diaspora, and you send $10,000. $10,000 is 1.2 million shillings, almost 1.3 million shillings. You see, when you talk about it in dollars, sounds like only 10,000. But then that gets flagged. And then you start having, the government investigators, putting you under the radar. So you're actually red listed or red flagged that this person sends money to people. As if it's a crime sending money to buy something. See that? Now the blockchain doesn't have that kind of nonsense policing. And this is what you're talking about, economic freedom. And now if you want to raise money to build projects like we're calling building healthcare, say maternity wards or stuff like that, we can now raise money on the blockchain together using what's called quadratic funding. So you're going to learn. So we have so many other lessons following. This is called pre-beginner's course because is now introducing you to the blockchain so that you can choose whether to dive deep into the beginner's course, which is 8 weeks, and then go to the intermediate and how to write smart code. But there's so much to know in this real world. Another thing you want to know that learning blockchain, it's very important for young people at this age because the number of jobs coming up in the job market for the blockchain is incredible. Every day, you're getting like 200 new jobs coming up. New minted jobs that were not there before yesterday. Today about 200 new jobs, different kinds. People, creating different ways of using blockchain. So it's a new frontier, which is what young people are about, being the new frontier, young generation. And so, and let us not be left behind, because you can see Asia has moved very fast. Europe, of course, United States, but Africa, we are still now tippy-toeing the blockchain, skirting on the surface. What's that about? We need to get right into the blockchain, get to know every details of it. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, so I see Marianne asks, what about like blacklisted countries? So if I send Bitcoin to a person in a blacklisted country, will issues arise because I don't hear of KYC?
Yeah, now these are political issues. They are called geopolitics. And these, of course, are driven by the United States government. With the blacklist countries, now, for example, a country like Iran is blacklisted. Why Iranians? Now, people in Iran themselves are not doing anything wrong. It's just politics. Let me tell you, and these politics are so bad. So even other countries like North Korea is also blacklisted. And so now with new Trump administration, we have developed a whole list of about 47 countries that are blacklisted. The citizens of those countries have actually done absolutely nothing wrong. It's a fight between politicians. So like what you find now, Israel and Palestinians. Now the Palestinians themselves who live in Palestine have not done anything wrong to the Israelis. And then the citizens of Israel themselves have not done anything wrong, but they have their president, prime minister called Benjamin Netanyahu and all that. So, and then we have countries like Russia, Vladimir Putin, which is, Russia is also, in the blacklist. And then, of course, you have China. Whatever wrong did China people do for anyone? So it's politics. So, and of course, Kenya is not blacklisted. Thank God for that. But they still have, say, like US Department of State has got travel advisories against Kenya for certain reason. And other African countries. So these blacklists, who decides who is black and who is white? So we have white lists and black lists. These are done by people, individuals. And we're talking about blockchain getting off that system of blacklisting people with a centralized. It is a system of exclusion, which means that you need permission in order for you to do something in this world. Yeah, blockchain is permissionless. Now, for you as an individual, you don't want to be sending money to Iran. I mean, that's not really, because, and in any case, where would you be sending money? And in fact, blockchain is not just for sending money, it's for so many other things to do. So when you're talking about now working, we say Actuate itself, it's for health and human development, for organizing ourselves and organizing capital to fund economic development in our own nations. Yeah. And so Africa, most of the African countries, I don't know of any African country that is blacklisted. Maybe countries like Niger, even maybe Burkina Faso, because they have fought for independence from the European Union, from France, Mali, those Sahel countries. But you see, say if France would like Mali and Niger and Burkina Faso to be blacklisted so that it can continue colonizing, is the continuation of this what's called dominance by either the European Union or maybe the Americans. But it's nothing to do with the local citizens. Like when you're talking about Mama Boga getting paid for her oranges, or Mama Orange is getting paid for oranges. Now, there's no blacklist there. And, but I'm sure the political geopoliticians, they will try to do that. And that's what I'm saying. These technologies are not politics. And see, politicians are going to work very hard to get ahead of politics. You see? So, see, for example, those blacklisted countries like Iran, like Russia, like even China, They're still using WhatsApp. They're still using WhatsApp. They're still using TikTok. They are still using YouTube. They can even have Google Meets and Zoom Meets like this one. So blacklisted is just politicians to feel good about themselves. But if you go to Iran, I was actually surprised. I went to Iran at once because I used to think that nothing goes on Iran from what you read in the newspaper. Because you think we are told Iran is a rogue nation. And then you go there, you find people are so progressive, they're so developed. You say, is it real? Then I also visited China the same way. China, in certain cities, is much more advanced than the United States. And they say, why all this drama? It's a political drama, it's propaganda. Now, KYC, know your customer, it's an idea that came in early 2001 when we had the attack of the two towers in New York City. And that was President Bush. So they created a regulation which is called anti-terrorism law. Anti-terrorism said that we must track down where the money goes, because they were arguing at that time that the money to fund that operation that caused terrorists to attack United States, it came was money that was being sent from Boston, right where I am right now, to the Middle East. Yeah, so they said, we need to be able to track everybody's money, where the money is going. And so they instructed the banks that in order for you to send money, you must know who is sending money. And that's why I'm saying that you cannot send more than 1 million shillings without them red flagging you, to your customer. So, and over the past 2 years or so in the United States, with the new Security Exchange Commission and the US government, they putting blockchain companies under severe heat, under severe pressure to implement AML, the Know Your Customer, for the anti-money laundering regulations. So, and of course, they banned Binance chain in the United States. But that does not stop Binance from operating everywhere else in the world. But see, usually these are Binance is owned by a guy who's Chinese. It's called ZK. It's called ZK. He is CK. Yeah, CK. That's his name. CK is he's Chinese, but he doesn't even live in China. He lives somewhere in, I think, in Dubai, and he has actually never been to the United States, but he speaks very good English. But then they say that, they brand him as a terrorist because he built the exchange system, the Binance system. He has actually done nothing wrong, but what he has done is to open up the finance market to people who are traditionally excluded from finance. That means people who live everywhere else except the West, except United States and Europe. So Binance, very powerful technology that has brought economic freedom for everybody. Somebody doesn't like that. That person is called European. That person is called American. And, because there's no danger in having, say, mama burgers having their value encoded on the marketplace or participating as market makers. Yeah, because there is no danger in having people getting uplifted, you're calling economic justice. But you see, in the political propaganda, they might say, if you empower these people, you never know. You never know, some of them could be having bad ideas. Who says that? So, and of course, Binance also implemented KYC. So I think even Coinbase and other exchanges like Kraken. But then we have decentralized platforms like Uniswap. They are decentralized and it's not so easy to implement KYC. So it's like you could say this political competition with the technology. Who wins? Did you know that before the internet came along in, say, like 1990s, in Kenya itself, we had only one broadcasting station called the Voice of Kenya, VOK, which was not owned by KBC. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. We could not have KTN, we could not have Citizens TV, we could not have Kameme Radio FM. So frequency for talking to one another was just limited to one communicating organization. Does it mean that people had nothing to say? And so it was believed that if you allowed people, that is when we had President Moi and the initial president after independence, that people are going to revolt and overthrow the government. So people were not allowed to speak to one another. So they were not allowed to communicate. But when the internet came, now people can speak to one another every which way. And then, of course, people are able to exercise their freedom, like you saw with the Gen Z movement in June 2024 in Kenya, when they managed to stop the finance bill. Now, that is what politicians are afraid of. Politicians are afraid of such a movement that can stop them from executing their plans for oppressing their people even further. So, but then, and you can see, say, like our government trying so hard to suppress Twitter or X Spaces, even threatening to arrest people, maybe abduct some people, and even the use of TikTok. But even when they're doing that, they cannot be ahead of technology. Twitter Spaces are here. Yeah. And so they get, and now we have this technology that has come for economic freedom. Imagine what X Spaces have done. Right now, if we did not have X, people going on Twitter to organize those protests, we would have had the most severe finance bill, thrown upon our nation. But then we cannot do that anymore because we have the technology, the freedom of communication. Now communication of, voice over the internet and text over the internet protocol. That's called HTTP. Now the new technology beyond HTTP, which is the blockchain, gives us a certain other new freedom of communicating your value. So no matter how hard they try to say, we need KYC, we need, people are not communicating their value for the purpose of organizing terrorism or organizing. So going into an adventure of saying we need KYC for everybody who is doing that is complete adventure in missing the point. Just like they could not bring down Twitter or X Spaces or even TikTok or even YouTube, they cannot stop this technology from going ahead. So all I'm saying that people are not practicing crime or exercising, wanting to be criminals. They just want to communicate their value freely so that they can have this economic freedom that people in the West have practiced ever since when. And then we remove that whole aura of, that we need to be controlled economically, even what you're doing. Yeah, because what you're doing is work of importance. That's why you're going to school to learn some things. And that's what leadership is all about. Let's lead people in the right direction. And of course, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be terrorists. Terrorists occur everywhere. These are bad people. Like, like they say, in every marketplace, there's a madman. There's a madman in every market. That doesn't mean that the entire marketplace is full of mad people. All right. But then if you create a narrative, say the political movements create a narrative that all these people are mad, we have to treat them as mad, then people are going to act as mad because you have told them they're mad. See that? But then if we say we trust people, that people actually want to make a good living for themselves, then we don't have to worry about the madman in the market. That is usually 1 in 1,000. And that is easy to find so long as people are working together. So I believe the ultimate KYC is what's called social contracts. If you're working together in a group like this one, you will know who is crazy in the group. It doesn't take, some international organization to come and tell her, oh, there's a crazy one in your group. People already know. And that is what we call full democracy. That blockchain now gives the power to vote for ideas, or vote for people, or vote for individuals. directly from your own wallet. That if somebody is behaving like a crazy person. So we have now community watching community, individuals watching other individuals in a decentralized way. So I would say the blockchain is a ultimate technology for decentralized KYC. Know your friends, know your customers, know the people you're working with. For example, if you're in school, you know your classmates. Now, if you know your classmates, does it require some strange person out there to say, oh, your classmates are like this and that? Or is it you who deal with the classmates all the time who can actually tell this classmate is cuckoo, or maybe this classmate is out of order? And you can now tell this classmate, my good friend, you are out of order, you're out of line, get out of here. So that we can create our own communities, our own community. That's what leadership is all about. Communities of power, we respect ourselves. And now when you have international regulations being imposed upon our communities, they are very, very destructive because they're not done in good faith. They're not done in good faith. The idea for creating such things is to exploit the oppressed people who cannot express themselves. Okay, I think I was long in answering that question, but I think blockchain is about since it's censorship resistance, censorship. We stop censoring other people so that we can stop their own economic developments just because, yeah, they're the ones. But I'm not thinking that the politicians or the political establishment is going to stop doing those things. It is just whether they do it or not, the technology is here. For us, is to learn how to use it judiciously without falling into the hands of the blacklisters. Because they are theirs, no doubt. Okay, thank you. Back to Frida. So.
Yeah. Boka, I think you can just share the form because I think it's already time and I don't see any other questions.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I'm going to share the feedback form. Please fill it out. And we are, as the doc mentioned, Mr. Macharia mentioned, we shall be having these meetings, these classes every Wednesdays at 8 p.m. So everybody is welcome, and we hope to see you again next week. I'm about to share the form.
Also share the link to the WhatsApp Actuate Nation group so people can join there.
Oh, reminding me, I've also shared the link to the WhatsApp group. But for those who have not yet seen, I will reshare it, and I will also send it to your email so that you can join at your convenience as well.
Awesome, thank you.
I have shared the form, and I'm going to reshare the WhatsApp again. All right. Thank you, everybody. All right. We shall meet again next week.
Till next week. Bye.
Till next week.